Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming to this talk. My name is Lindsay Clandfield. I'd like to thank IATEFL for putting on such a great conference. I'd also like to thank Macmillan, who have brought me here. This talk is about the philosophy and some of the reasoning behind some of the decisions that I made when writing a course book, the latest course book for adults by Macmillan called Globals. And so I'm going to be talking about content of books, about culture, and about critical thinking. And in a way, it's a critical take on both of those other things, the content and the culture. I've also prepared something different here because I know this conference has been very big on technology and Twittering and everything. And so I see some computers are open. Some people might be Twittering on their phones. So I've taken the liberty of preparing tweets for you. So if you wanted to tweet something, here's an example that you're in my talk. So far, so good, and you will tweet more, okay? My talk, I suppose I started thinking about this when I was living in Barcelona, and my wife, who's a French teacher, she was studying Catalan. She came back one day from class, very excited to tell me about what she had learned in her Catalan class. Catalan is a local language in that region of Spain. Usually she never told me anything about the classes. How was your Catalan class? Fine. But this time she was excited to tell me about something she had learned about the culture and history of Catalonia. And it was a thing called the human tower, where people get on top and they make a human tower and the child comes to the top. Anyway, she was very excited to tell me about this bit of cultural information that she had learned in class. And it made me think, what were my students going home and telling their wives, husbands, children, parents that they had learned? And I wasn't sure if there was something as interesting as that. I think that they had learned some useful language. I think we'd done restaurants or something like that. So I'm sure they had learned useful language. But was there the extra value of something new that they had learned? But I came to another problem, because I'm teaching English, a global language. She was learning Catalan, a local language, and we were living in Catalonia, but I'm teaching a global language. And it made me think, well, what culture would I teach? Is it possible to teach a language without teaching culture? Even when that language is a global one, which is not the property of any one country? You see, we're getting into a dilemma now with the spread of English and the English as a lingua franca on the whole area of culture. Whose culture do we choose? What kind of culture do we choose? Can one teach a global language without teaching culture? I tried, because I'm a materials writer, I tried to make an exercise that would have no culture in it. Okay? Here is an example of what I'm trying to do as a completely culture-free, before I say that, a culture-free exercise coming soon. I was reading about this, and there was a very interesting book called Culture and Imperialism by a man called Edward Said, American-Palestinian literary critic and theorist. And he talked about this development of English as an international language. He had gone to see a university in the Middle East that was teaching international English, and he sat in on a class. And this is what he had to say. Very critical. He said, English had become a technical language stripped of expressive and aesthetic characteristics and denuded of any critical or self-conscious dimension. You learned English to use computers, respond to orders, transmit telexes, maybe that would be send emails now, decipher manifests, and so forth. That was all. This was in a port. It was in a port city, so that's why the manifests from ships and stuff. Maybe it was unfair. Maybe he was seeing an English for specific purposes class, and so but he said it's such a shame to have lost that kind of culture, aesthetic, beauty, and so on. So it made me think, what have we lost with the communicative approach? Is this what the international language is becoming? A language just to sort of get things done transactionally, to to send emails, to shop, to buy things, to get on airplanes or things like that? Is that what global language has become? Because those are all communicative functions. But what about other stuff? Culture. So, my cultural activity that had no culture in it. Take a look at this. I don't know, do you think there's any culture in this? What are we learning, first of all, here? What's the target? Present simple. I suppose you could argue that I was making cultural assumptions because I teach in Spain, so the first person's name is Rosa. It's not Yin, or it's not Mary, or something like that. But it's pretty bland. There's not really much there, right? Of course, we don't always teach using this kind of stuff. We have to have texts. And I think the moment you have texts is the moment where there will be some kind of culture or opportunity for cultural learning going on. And I'd like to suggest 3 goals for a general English course. These are the 3 things that were guiding me as I was working on global. The first primary thing is to learn English, okay? That's completely the most normal imperative for any language teacher, that the students must learn English. So they have to learn grammar, vocabulary, they have to practice their 4 skills, and so on. But we can't just do this, so there must be something else going on. They're probably learning through English. And this is what the CLIL people are saying. They're making that more overt, content language integrated learning, that people can learn a language through learning other things. But have we been doing that already? Let's take a topic. I want to imagine that we are going to teach friends and strangers. This is the topic. The lexis is going to be people you know, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, and the grammar is a present simple review. I'm going to suggest different ways that we could do this. The first one, we could have a text about this. You know this television show? Sorry. It is an international show. It's being syndicated in many different countries. I know it's in Spain. I was in Turkey. It's on in Turkey. It was on in France and Germany. I'm sure it's arriving in Latin America, so it's international. The students would probably recognize the person, and we could get out all the language we want to get out, of present simple activities. They go shopping together, they do this, they do that, she likes this, she likes that. It's a reality show, by the way, where Paris Hilton has to choose a new best friend, and people get voted off.